Hi, Dr. Delicia. How are you? Hey, Miss Alice. How are you guys? I am supposed to be doing an interview tonight, and I am actually going to see if Dr. Felipe wants to join. There we go. 1 second. How are you guys doing this Friday evening? I hope you're doing well. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for meeting me on here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
How are you doing? Are you in New York or you're?
I'm in South Carolina right now, but I'm from New York.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I just got in for my son's soccer game. They won 3-0.
Nice. I'm sure they must be excited about that.
Yeah. So they got another one tomorrow. So it's been fun. It's been a long day. How are you?
Good, good. How are things in South Carolina?
Not bad. As good as they can be, considering.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at your website, and I love how you're so focused on preventative medicine, preventative health.
Yes.
Because I feel like oftentimes, well, one in medicine, I mean, I'm not sure how you trained, but I know in my training, it was just strictly focused on disease, on illness.
Yeah.
And not enough focus on wellness and preventative disease and getting to the root of the problem when people have developed a medical issue. So I was really happy to see things on your website, like getting a personal trainer, getting somebody to help with eating, getting an acupuncturist, all of that.
Yeah. Well, prevention is key. It's more expensive to be sick than to be healthy, and people don't realize that until it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you can ask the richest and the poorest person, and they'll say the one thing in life is that they wish that they took better care of themselves. So if we can take a lesson from them and try to do the best we can to live the healthiest life and the longest life that we can, then we can teach that to our children and create a generational type of health and generational wealth. So
yeah, and I think, look, I'm sure just like you, I spend a lot of time with people as they're nearing the end of their life, you know, and not taking really good care of themselves is always one of the regrets as people are getting ready to pass on.
Yeah.
So prevention is key, like you say.
Yeah.
And I feel like people don't realize that they have a lot more control over their health than they actually think that they do.
Yes, it's all about making small changes each and every single day, and that's what I teach my patients and my clients. Just make one healthy choice today, will pay off later on. You don't have to go on this big old fancy diet and just cut out everything. Just make one change and be consistent. That's the thing, being consistent and making that change each day, each week. You just add on, and it's just like as a baby tries to stand and pulls up and they fall down, and they just keep at it until they're able to walk and run and jump and do all those things. But we just forget the basics as we get older. We take the shortcut.
I have been telling people more and more, you need to act like you're 2-3 years old. And I used to tell people, and I tell them this for their neurological health, I used to tell them, you need to act like you're 20. You know, like you need to go out, you need to explore everything, you need to have these big hopes and dreams. You've got to be physically active. But now I'm like, you need to act like you're 2-3 years old, right? They play with everyone. They talk to everyone. They're exploring their environment constantly. They're giving their brains everything that they need to thrive.
Yes. It's the basic foundation and the building blocks that we have to get back to. Even with my patients that have kids, because I deal with a lot of single moms, and I tell them, get on the ground, play with your kids. That's a form of physical activity. You don't have to create 30 minutes to go run on an elliptical. Just do the simple things in life that come naturally to you.
Yeah, absolutely, right? You don't need to necessarily belong to a gym and go work out with weights if that's not your thing.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot. I tell people all the time, look, if you love dancing, find a way to dance 3 or 4 times a week for 30-40 minutes.
Yep. Right? Just turn the music on, dance while you're cleaning, make it fun.
Absolutely. It's you know, the reality is that our bodies are designed to move. And at the helm of that is our brains.
Yeah.
And so if you don't move your body, you're not giving your brain what it needs in order to thrive.
Yeah, because everything's connected from the
Everything
head
is
to
connected.
toe. So your joints need movement, your heart needs the movement, your brain. Now, if that heart's not moving and pumping blood, the brain can't get the natural oxygen and the nutrients that it needs to continue to function to prevent dementia and Alzheimer's disease and all these different medical conditions that you deal with as a specialist. So.
Yeah, and you know, and the studies show, like, look, if somebody's starting to develop some cognitive impairment, if they even start walking 30 to 40 minutes per day, that they can see significant improvement in their memory.
Yes, that's amazing. And that's so simple, but we make it so difficult.
Yeah, so simple, right? I mean, people will come and they'll come to me and they'll be like maxed out on Aricept or Namenda or super maxed out. And they're like, it's not working. I'm like, yeah, those never work.
No. Because what do you do all day? Sit down, watch TV, sleep. Get up and move. Even if it's 10 minutes. I had one patient. She walked up and down her hallway 10 minutes twice a day, and she dropped 50 pounds and prevented, and that she decided not to go ahead with weight loss surgery because her knee pain was better.
Yeah.
That was how simple it was. She did some diet and exercise, some dietary changes with it, but just walking back and forth in her hallway helped her to lose that weight.
Yeah.
And she was like in her late 50s, early 60s. So I give that example to a lot of my patients who give me excuses when they're like, oh, I don't have time. I'm like, don't give me an excuse.
Yeah. I think when you look at the last 30, 40 years and you look at the diseases that have increased the most, it is sedentary lifestyle, obesity, diabetes, and Alzheimer's disease.
Yep. Yep. And they're all connected. They're lifestyle diseases.
They're all lifestyle diseases.
Yeah.
You know? And if you ask some neuroscientists, researchers, and neurologists, they'll tell you that there's such a close association between type 2 diabetes and Alzheimer's that some of us actually consider Alzheimer's disease to be type 3 diabetes. All lifestyle diseases.
Yeah. I think I was watching one of your other lives and I heard you say that, and I can see the connection, definitely, because a lot of those patients do have, outside of high blood pressure and high cholesterol, they also have diabetes. And those three things interconnected, if you get those things controlled, especially in the minority community, those are dietary things that we can control, lifestyle things we can control. So if we stop smoking, we stop drinking, we stop eating out at restaurants and cooked at home more often, then we could prevent ourselves from developing all these diseases that are completely preventable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and as a neurologist, look, most of what I see are not primary brain diseases. They're the result, it's because of the impact that preventable chronic diseases have on the brain. That's why they're coming to me, whether they develop strokes, dementia, seizures, you know, it's because that they didn't take good care of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It brings me back to my uncle. He passed away earlier, or the end of last year before COVID hit, and he had vascular dementia. And he developed that because he had uncontrolled high blood pressure, because he wouldn't stop smoking. He liked to eat a lot of salty food, and he took a drink every now and again. And when you tell him about it, he's like, oh, it's just a little bit. But a little bit has huge impacts on your body over time. It adds up. It's cumulative. So unfortunately, he had to go through that, and he eventually stopped speaking and everything and passed away from that. But it was completely preventable.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of it.
Look, I always say that alcohol is brilliant marketing. Right? If I said to you, I'm going to give you something right, to take that's going to increase your risk of being involved in some kind of physical assault, right? Increase your risk of drowning, increase your risk of a fire, you know, that can potentially cause over 200 plus diseases. Would you take it? Most people would say absolutely not. And yet they are so willing to drink alcohol all day long.
All day.
All day long. Right?
It has a big warning on the cigarette box. May cause cancer. Still going to smoke.
Yeah. I can't believe that we live in a world where people are still smoking.
Yeah. And then they get cancer and they still smoke. And they're like, well, I'm going to die of something anyway. I'm like, you just get it.
Or they have strokes because of smoking.
and you're like, oh, can you give me something to stop this cough? Stop smoking.
I know, that's, you know, a lot of times it is that simple a lot of times, you know.
Yeah.
Or not too long ago, I saw somebody who just became super altered. You know, you look at his CAT scan and MRIs, his brain has shrunk. You know, he's got neurological deficits. He's completely delirious, and he was a chronic drinker. And you know, now he's developing dementia as a result.
Yeah.
You know, and his wife was like, "Oh, is this going to get better?" And I'm like, "He spent the last 40 years drinking alcohol."
Exactly.
You know, like, it's done damage to his brain.
Permanent damage.
Permanent damage.
There's only but so much you can reverse, you know.
Yeah.
And once you start losing that connectivity, unfortunately there hasn't been anything created yet. Hopefully maybe one day you or someone else will create something that can regenerate some of these connections and synapses. So,
well, you know, the funny thing is, the biggest promoter of neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to make new neurons and connections, is exercise. And it's followed by constantly learning and challenging yourself. It's in minimizing stress, because chronic stress actually kills neurons and in the part of the brain responsible for memory. It's in eating healthy, so you're not causing inflammation in the body, and you're not causing neuroinflammation, inflammation in the brain.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting enough sleep. So it's doing all these lifestyle things that are within our control.
Exactly.
But you know, you can't put that you can't turn that into a pill and put it in a bottle and, I guess, sell it for billions. So
we could try.
I guess you can try, right? I guess people do try.
Yeah.
Right? You do
Create
try,
all these packages just to tell people everything that we're telling them for free.
Yeah. Look, I often say that if people lived the way that they were supposed to, more than half the doctors and nurses in this country would be out of jobs. And yet we've got a doctor shortage that's only expected to get worse by 2030.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree 1,000%. Yeah.
So it's really, really sad to see.
It's all mindset, and a lot of it comes from the way you grow up. So if you didn't teach your children how to cook at home, and you're always buying food out, getting McDonald's on the go, or you're not even sitting at the table together to have a meal and have a form of discussion that also stimulates your brain and everything, your children will grow up and eventually do the same thing or even worse.
Yeah.
And so I definitely try to incorporate those things with my parents and my kids that are overweight. I tell the parents, work out with your kid. Teach them how to cook while they're young. I have so many 16, 17-year-olds that don't know how to boil eggs. I'm like, you're about to leave your parents' home. You're not going to come home every day for food. You need to learn how to cook for yourself, because it's going to get expensive eating out. And so it's just those basic skills that we've gotten away from as a society, because especially in America, it's all about work, and making money. And you forget about the basics of things that need to sustain your health, which is sleep, exercise, everything we've been talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because, so in my course, I talk about how everybody's always worried about genetics, right? And what disease they may get because it runs in the family. But they often forget that they learn more about health-related issues, right? Lifestyle issues from their families that then have a significant impact.
Yeah, so all genetics and changing your genes and your environmental factors impacting your genes. Yes, you have what you've inherited from your parents, but your environment also controls some of that, and you can change it. Yeah,
absolutely. Right. So if you learn from your family that, look, you can eat fast food every single day, and you're eating all day long, and you can be sedentary, you don't have to exercise, right? And diabetes runs in the family, then guess what? You're probably going to get it. Because of your lifestyle.
Eventually, yeah.
You know?
So, and I think just promoting that and teaching kids that and teaching their parents how to interact with their kids well can actually change those stigmas. And so more of these conversations need to be had between providers, parents, communities, in terms of teaching them how to make these changes. Yeah.
So what is it that sort of inspired you to go to the preventative route?
Well, I'm from the Caribbean, so I grew up with my backyard having chicken, goat. We had trees, mango trees, limes, oranges, anything you could pick. It was at your disposal. And even though in the Caribbean, we are very heavy with salt, we are very heavy with sugar, we still always incorporate some kind of vegetable salad with our meals. And so my goal and mission is to, and in the Caribbean, the most popular diseases or the most, the ones that affect us mostly are lifestyle diseases, diabetes, hypertension, strokes, and high cholesterol and heart disease. And so in order to educate that population, that's why I kind of created my platform to kind of promote health, because it's all, if you have generational health, you have generational wealth. And so I wanted to show people that you can still enjoy the foods that you like in moderation, but you can tweak it and it still tastes good. Yeah. And you're still helping your body stay healthy, so that you can have the energy to take care of your family and do the things that you need to do. Yeah,
look, I was in Grenada at the very beginning of the year for the new year. And we were like picking cherries off the trees. You know, I mean, it's amazing, right? And this stuff is just growing in people's backyards.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so when I moved here to New York, I'm in this concrete jungle. You could barely see a tree.
Yeah, no, there's no fruit growing from the trees.
Yeah, you go to the market and you're like, why does this look like this? It looks old. It's hard. It's not soft like it's supposed to be. It doesn't taste as fresh because they pick it early and ship it here in hopes that it will ripen. But because of that lifestyle and because you're always on the go, like in the Caribbean, it's more laid back. People take a 2-hour lunch break. People make sure they're in bed at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and they're up early in the morning. So it's a different culture there. And even though their diet may not be the best, they live long. And so to look at that and compare that to the society here, where we're hustling, bustling, we're grabbing, eating on the go, you're eating, you're reading, you're driving, you're thinking about school, picking up the kids. It's just so much stress, which increases inflammation. And we're eating a lot of processed foods, which causes your gut to get sick, and the gut and the brain are connected. And a lot of depression, irritable bowel syndrome, a lot of mood disorders, constipation, bloating, patients complaining of central obesity, and all of these things are interconnected because of our diet. Once you start to eliminate some of those processed foods, you get back to eating a whole plant-based diet, then you'll start to feel better. You'll have more energy to be able to play with your kids, to be able to work, to be able to create a business on the side while you're working your 9 to 5, and still be able to satisfy your partner at the same time. All of that is interconnected. A lot of my male patients, they complain of ED. I can't get it up. Well, if you change your diet a little bit, your diabetes is out of control, your blood pressure is out of control. We got to get those things under control so that we can have the proper blood flow to the proper areas so that you can perform.
Yeah, and listen, I've learned over the years that when you want to get your male patients to do something, you got to hit them in the money.
Yes.
With their money or with ED. And you got to be like, look, that Viagra is not going to work with your blood sugar being in 400.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and some of them, oh, I'll do anything. You give it to me. I'll take all the medicine you need to fix this. Or the wife comes in and says, oh, can you fix him?
That's right. You know, and I would imagine it's got to be embarrassing when your wife brings you to the doctor, like, can you fix them?
Yeah. So it's amazing. A lot of my male patients are very comfortable talking about that with me. Some are shy. Some of them will come up with weird scenarios and say, how do you take care of, like, you know, and I know what they're talking about. I'm like, oh, you're having problems with erections? They're like, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Just be open and honest with your physician. If I could tell anybody who's listening, we can help you. You just got to tell us what's wrong.
You have to be, very willing to share. And
Yeah,
you've got to know that there's no judgment, and
exactly.
we're going to do everything that we can to help you get healthier.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, but yeah, certainly with nutrition, eating more your greens, your blueberries, the more of the colors on your plate, the rainbow that you have, the more nutrients you're getting. That will help with everything in your body, not just inflammation, but also with your strength, with bone health, with gut health, with cardiovascular health. A lot of the things that protect your heart also protect your brain. And just having those a small salad a day can make a huge difference. You start to have regular bowel movements, and you don't have all those toxins built up inside of you that are circulating in your body, causes your skin to break out. Or even just drinking water. Water is huge. Our body is mostly made up of water, and if you're not supplying yourself with enough water, you'll feel tired, you'll feel fatigued, you'll get constipation, you'll have brain fog or confusion. And so it's very important that we hydrate ourselves properly, not with juice and coffee and sodas, but with water.
Yeah, and even if you're 20% dehydrated from not having enough water, you can have brain fog or fatigue. And so drinking enough water is incredibly important, right? And I don't think people realize just how connected their gut health is to their brain health. I mean, there are neurological disorders that we sometimes can manage just by changing the way somebody eats.
Yep.
And people don't realize that. I mean, not too long ago, somebody came to me. He has not walked in something like 4 years, right? Has not walked. His diabetes is so out of control. He had severe diabetic neuropathy 2 years ago. And he's coming to me, he's like, "You're my last resort." I'm like, "Your hemoglobin A1C is above 10. Like, what, like, you have to get control of your diabetes, because that's what's destroying your nerves."
Exactly.
Until you do that, there's nothing that anyone can do for you.
Exactly.
And his struggles was that he said he had a hard time eating healthy, although it was kind of like you're in a wheelchair. I mean, it's not like you can just go get whatever you want whenever you want.
Exactly.
And if it got you to this point and you still can't make those choices, then that's really bad.
Yeah. Sorry, am I here? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see me?
Yeah, I can see it. Oh, but you're a little...
Am I paused?
It's a little, like, delayed, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to put the silencer on here. So when people call, it interrupts your video. But hopefully that will clear up soon.
Yeah, no, you're sort of back on track.
Okay.
So what is it that you do with people when they come and see you? Because you have your own practice, it looks like.
Yeah, so I wear several hats. So I'm a family medicine physician. I'm board certified, and I'm a best-selling author of Be Irie, a Caribbean handbook to develop healthy habits, and I've created a supplement line called Irie Vitamins. And Irie essentially is a Jamaican term that means to be good. And so in my private practice, so by day I work in a practice in a rural community, very sick community. They have it's a very small town with 2 dialysis access centers, very complex patients with multiple comorbidities. But on the side, I also do telemedicine with mobile in-home visits. So I do house calls through my private practice. And so I will have clients that come and see me for certain things. And if they're like, especially with this pandemic, a lot of people are afraid to go to the doctor. I'll come to their home and do their examination and prescribe their medications and do everything for them, and set up their referrals and whatnot. So it's been a very good convenience for those patients. And I try to work with people who have difficulty with going to the doctor between the hours of 9 to 5. Most people can't take off of work to go sit in the doctor's office or the waiting room for 2 or 3 hours, and then to sit and wait for the doctor to come in to spend 5-10 minutes with them. So I'm able to go out to your home on time and spend as much time as you need with me so that we can get down to the bottom of your issues. And so that's been a great opportunity for me, because I actually enjoy that more. And you get to see the patient in their own conditions and what's in their kitchen, see how they're eating, how are they living, what are the stressors in their life. And people feel more comfortable and at ease when they're in their own home. It's like two friends talking. And so I'm able to understand the patient on a deeper level in that regard.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting because I've started doing some teleneurology since the pandemic. And, you know, so you're kind of in the patient's home with them, not the way that you go about it. But, you know, when they show up to a teleneurology appointment with a cigarette in their hand, you know it's a problem. And I had to call a patient out once. I'm like, listen, this must be a serious problem, because you think it's okay to come to your doctor's visit with a you know, smoking a cigarette, you know? But yeah, so you get a glimpse into what they're like at home. And so, you know, so you can hear all the yelling in the background and you're like, oh my God, that's such a stressful situation. No wonder you have memory problems. You know,
overstimulation.
Yeah, you know, so it's interesting. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I've been doing that for about a year now. So that's been fun. I actually like that a little more than being stuck in the office all the time. So.
And then the vitamins, they're like multivitamins, or?
So I have multiple different herbal supplements. So I have a whole gambit of things. So I believe in traditional medicine was created for a reason, a purpose. And I do think you can fuse it with natural supplements safely. So depending on the patient, it's not for everyone. I will make recommendations. Like, the big thing now is vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin C, especially with COVID-19, and vitamin A. So I will make different recommendations. I do some CBD, elderberry extract. I have one called Adrenal Energy, which helps to boost energy and reduce stress, especially with moms who are working from home and homeschooling. That's a big one I'm promoting right now because it actually boosts your energy. I've taken it myself and it definitely works. And I've had several friends and family and customers say that they feel like they have so much more energy throughout the day when they take that supplement. It has ashwagandha root and rhodiola and some other natural roots that are good at stimulating or increasing your energy and reducing your stress levels and helping you get better sleep at night.
Awesome. I think I need to check that out.
Yeah.
I do the virtual learning with my sons, you know, and at the same time trying to manage other stuff, and it's exhausting.
You just want to focus on something like, Dad, hey.
I know, you know, I'm doing teleneurology. I've got, you know, patients I'm taking care of. Son's not quite sure how to do math, or you hear what's going on with the teacher, and you're like, man, you have no control over this class.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's a struggle for those who, that have to stay at home and work from home with kids in the house at the same time. So I think it's been a learning curve for everyone. I think stay-at-home moms probably have the most control over this situation because they're used to doing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think I'm definitely going to have to check out the vitamins that you've got. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this Friday evening. This has been fun.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me. Awesome.
Yeah, we got to hop online and talk again.
Sure. Anything. You name the date and the time.
Sounds good. Well, enjoy.
All right. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to me. I'm on all social media, Dr. Kelenne and Dr. Felipe. How can they reach you?
Pleasure to meet you too.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Take care. Enjoy.
All right. Bye.